Welcome to the Ant Arcade. Today we're going to take a brand new Xbox Series S and install Retroarch onto it. This is a fresh new system, never been opened. This will also work on the Series X. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I've seen a few tutorials online on how to do this, and I have come across some issues, some obstacles that I didn't know what to do, so I'm going to go ahead and show you from start to finish on a fresh new system. And the reason there's a tinsel and a little Santa Claus thing is because this is just after Christmas and these systems are just now becoming readily available. They used to be very difficult to find. When it boots up, it's going to show this Xbox logo and it's going to stay there for a while, so have patience. I skipped all that. It takes a good few minutes. Now you're going to set up your system. You're going to connect to the internet. And this is after it's connected. It says it's all good. And then comes the update. The update could take a while. There's 3 steps. First it downloads, and then it'll verify, and then it'll apply the update. Once it's done, it's going to reboot. Again, it might show a black screen for a while, and it wants to update the controller. With these new systems, you don't have to connect a USB cable like you did on the previous systems. It will actually do it wirelessly. Then you'll continue signing in or setting up your Microsoft account. Your login and your password, and then it'll take you to the dashboard. When you get to the dashboard, you're going to see the Microsoft Store on that right. That's that icon that looks like a shopping bag. Click that, and you're going to go into search. You type in DEV, and that's because you're looking for dev mode activation. It looks like this right here. You're going to want to select it and install. Now I had a little issue here because it was trying to download Microsoft Store first, so I went and I clicked on dev mode activation and forced it to download now. I kept messing with that Microsoft Store because it would say updating for the longest time, and at some point it finally did update, and I continued. This is dev mode starting, telling you welcome. It gives you a website in case you want to read more information on it, and then it wants to activate your console. You're going to hit next. Now this is the part where you're going to need a Windows 10 PC. It's going to give you a website and a code and tell you to enter that code at that website. I had a little issue with this because when I went to the website, it asked me to log in. I logged in and I couldn't see anywhere to enter a code. It took me to resources for partners. This pop-up came up and I just clicked out of it. I looked around for somewhere to enter that code and I could not find it. I even went into the search for help files. I looked up more information. It wouldn't tell me where to enter that code specifically. So I went back to the resources for partners and I went down near that Xbox logo and I clicked Get Started. It took me to this page, so I clicked Sign Up Now. Select your country and then select your account type. For my account type, I chose individual. Then it asks more detailed information, and I filled all that out. Once it was filled, I clicked next, and it asked me for my password again. Put in the password. Then it asks for the payment information. There's promo code at the top if you have that, but otherwise you go down to billing and you select a payment type, which is either credit or debit, and then accept the terms and conditions. Click Finish. And it'll take you back to resources for partners. And I'm wondering, okay, I've been here 3 times. Do I get started again? I thought I was already started. Anyway, I get started again. So it turns out my Xbox is timed out and I have to ask for a new code. I'll click it. It gives me a new code. So I go to the website to enter the code. And it takes me here. Manage Xbox One console. You want to go all the way to the right, click on the plus sign, select Enter Activation Code. Small window will pop up, and this is where you can finally enter in the code that the Xbox is showing. Click Submit, and now it's showing that the Xbox is active. And this is where I had another issue. The Xbox itself says that it's almost there, but first we need to update your Xbox, and after the update to come back to this app, and then you can enter development mode. Well, I waited for an update, and I went back and nothing had changed. It still says that same thing. We need to update first. And it wasn't doing anything, so I figured, well, maybe I need to update it myself, and I tried to update the apps. Everything was 100% updated. I re-verified in the system. It says no console updates are available. Went back and forth trying to figure out when is the update going to happen. I even went to Xbox Assist, and I don't think it's very useful at all. Anyway, after checking it multiple times, it was still almost there. First we need to update the console, so I shut it down. Turned it back on, hoping that might make a difference and that it would have updated. But no, it's exactly the same. So I go into the system settings and then console info, and I enter in the code that can get you into developer mode, which is left bumper, left trigger, right trigger. And it can get me into developer settings. Like this. Now when I did this I was kind of worried because it said it wasn't done. It needed to update first. But everything seemed to work. When it reboots in developer mode, the Xbox logo will hang for a while, so have some patience. But finally we have got it to developer mode, and from here the next step would be to install Retroarch. So for this next step, you're going to want to go back to the computer and go to retroarch.com. This is where you're going to download 2 files that you need to transfer to the Xbox. Go to Download tab, scroll down to the bottom. You're going to see an Xbox logo, and it will say Xbox One. Even though we're using an Xbox Series S or an Xbox Series X, they're backwards compatible, so they should work. There are 2 files under the Xbox One icon, and you want to download both of those files. Now at this point, the Xbox popped up a message asking me if I wanted to enable advanced video features. I chose to enable them. Now a different tutorial told me to go down to remote access and set up a username and password. Enable Xbox device portal should be checked. That will allow you to use your computer to access your Xbox. Here's where I put in a password and username. Now the Xbox device portal tells you a web page to go to. I entered that into my browser and it wouldn't load. I was also instructed to start a guest account, and I couldn't do that either. I got this error. And it turns out that these problems are because it could not connect to Xbox Live. I was wondering maybe Xbox Live was down, but I went into my settings and I found out that my internet settings no longer existed. I had to re-input internet settings and password. After I did that, everything worked fine. You could see in the main page that it's green now. It says Xbox Live is up and running, it's active. Now in the bottom right hand corner, they're going to give you a remote access website. Enter that web address into your computer and log in. I forgot my password, so I had to go back to the Xbox and tell it, don't ask me for my password, and then it let me go right to the site. You're going to want to click Add, and this is where you could take those 2 files that you downloaded from retroarch.com and drop them in the box. First, you want to take Retroarch and hit Next, and then it'll ask you if there's unnecessary dependencies. That's the next file, the Microsoft one. You'll drag that over, drop it in the box. Once you have them both there, press Start, and it will start installing those onto your Xbox. Once the installation progress shows 100%, don't do anything just to be safe. You want to wait until it says done. It may take a while. At some point it will say the package has been successfully registered and you can click done. And if you notice on the Xbox, it will now show you that you have Retroarch under Games and Apps. Now you're going to want to get the controller and look for this button on the controller. Press that button and it'll pop up a menu. Go all the way down to View Details. It's an app right now. Select that, change it to Game, and then back out of it. Now I pressed A on Retroarch to see if it runs. And there it is. Let it load up, and there'll be a few things that you need to change first. You're going to go down to Online Updater. Look for Update Assets. Click that. It's going to download an assets zip, and then it's going to extract it. Sometimes this may take a while. The assets takes a while to unzip. The cheats takes much longer to unzip. But you can update everything on this list if you like. As you can see, the assets is taking a while. It's at 1%, 2%. Once it hits 100%, you're going to get a black screen, and it may take a while to come back, so give it a minute. I skipped through the wait. The next thing on the list is going to be the core info files. You'll do the same thing, select it, allow it to download and extract. This is pretty quick. The next thing on the list is the controller profiles. And the next one is update the databases. Now these are all the ones that I did. You can continue and update everything if you like, but I'm just doing the more important ones. The next thing to do is to go over to Input, go down to Video, and change it from D3, D11 to GL. When you back out, it should say Video GL. Back out of that. Now you're going to go to Configuration, save the current configuration. Now you can see that it's saved. So now you can quit Retroarch, and when you restart it, you should see those icons that you were missing, and it will be ready to go. For those of you who are familiar with Retroarch, you could probably take it from here. In the next video, I'll be showing how to install ROMs, download artwork, and set up the emulators. Please take a few seconds to leave comments or suggestions below. Click those things you see on the screen, and thank you for watching the Ant Arcade.